How has your experience at Miami as a Black person in a historically white institution been?
While I didn't attend Miami for my undergrad and my master's, I was still very familiar with, I guess, the history of Miami. And so, that has some work to do when it comes to diversity and inclusion and understanding that representation at the staff and faculty level is so important. And so if I have a chance to connect, making sure I do that. While I like to say that Miami's community, especially if we're looking just at Black folks, small but mighty, right? And so while we are trying to grow that, it is a community.
What helped me at Miami is the inner inspiration to get to know people from other backgrounds. We now live in a country that has racial problems. And so it behooves every Miami student, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it really behooves them to get to know other people from different backgrounds. Having that sensibility in my mindset when I stepped onto the campus helped me a lot.
Have you experienced any aggression in academic spaces or workplaces due to your race?
If you're Black in this country, your parents and your grandparents instill in you and that they want you to be twice as good as the other person because they know that that attitude will help you climb the steps. Life is moving fast and you really have to position yourself to not spend much time worrying about what other people are thinking about you.
And I'd even love to add to that of just, when you bring up the conversation, Will, of, when your parents tell you you have to be twice as good, it's a very real thing. And I think for especially just students of color, we have been training all our lives to go into white-dominated systems from the time we're young, right? So wear your clothes like this, speak like this,
Right.
Walk like this. And so that reinforcement, when you do get to Miami University, a lot of students have been practicing this for a long time. Now, it still may be a culture shock, right? Because you're still looking around and you're still dealing with certain things. But that training, I think that's very unique.
How do you combat society's lack of diversity and ethnic appreciation?
So I think any of us have to start with ourselves and our surrounding community, especially the one that we have influence on. And as far as combating, I think that's a couple things. One, that is, I guess, moving and behaving in that action or in that mode that you want to see reflected in society. I think that's also understanding the importance of educating yourself about what's going on so that you can serve as an advocate, whether it's, for someone right next to you or someone who's watching you from afar. So now we got social media, right? So the things that we do, our spheres of influence are even larger.
Yes, Law, I think that is a superb answer. For the past 4 years, I've been working on a new book about Hollywood. Movies are a big part of this nation's culture. And we had the Oscar So White movement. Internally in this country, we know that was wrong, is wrong, has been wrong for years. People fought back, and it often takes horrific incidents. We are at that point in this nation where we need to talk about race and racism. As James Baldwin said, Martin Luther King Jr. said it actually, he said, white America is going to have to wake up to the evils of racism. And I think people have to constantly be reminded of that. It should not take a George Floyd murder or an Ahmaud Arbery shooting in Georgia. We shouldn't need shootings to ignite these movements. These movements should be a part of who we are because it moves our society forward. And if we don't move forward, then we fall back and we take on these habits which result in the storming of the U.S. Capitol.
My name is Larry Winston Collins. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, in a little small community called Corryville, which is right next to the University of Cincinnati. My father was a chef for the General Hospital, which is now University Hospital, and my mother was a school teacher. I guess I was always pretty creative as a kid. I always used to draw things, and I used to work on a lot of different art projects around the house and at school and stuff. But I guess I didn't really start to realize that I was an artist until I started to attend high school. There, I actually joined the art club, and I was a musician also, but I started to think about what it was that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I figured that probably art was one of my best options. My senior year, we got a new art teacher, and his name was Leroy Porter, and I expressed interest to him that I was interested in going to college, and he helped me put together a portfolio, and I submitted it, and I got a scholarship to Columbus College of Art and Design that's in Columbus, Ohio. After my college days, I got a job as a book designer for a publishing company. And in my evenings, after I got home from work, I would get out my supplies, and I would actually work on some of my own drawings and paintings. And over a period of time, I started to accumulate a lot of those drawings and paintings. After some years at the publishing company, I decided to quit that job, and I opened up an art studio. And at that studio, I started to create a series of works called Imagery Black and White. Now, with this series, I was actually combining a lot of different types of techniques and materials. I started creating these sort of relief paintings where I was combining drawings, some paintings. I was using sort of a printmaking technique called choreographs, where I was actually building up the surface sort of like plates. But I started to create this whole style that I ended up calling art fusion, because it was actually just combining a lot of different things. After working in my studio for a number of years, I decided to apply to graduate school, and I got accepted into the Mount Royal program at the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, Maryland. It was in this program that I created a series of works called Homeless Positions. And these were sculptures that were based off of people that I saw in Baltimore out on the streets. And I used a number of different materials for these figures, mostly found materials that I found in some dumpsters at construction sites, and just some things off the street. And I just felt that these figures needed to be created from discarded materials, pretty much like they were discarded from life. After graduate school, I moved back to Columbus, Ohio, where I got a job teaching at Columbus College of Art and Design. And after being there for a number of years, I got an offer to teach at Miami University, that's in Oxford, Ohio. And I've been at Miami University for about 16 years, and I'm currently an associate professor. In 2018, I created a series of works called They That Matter. And this is a series of portraits of Black men and women who were killed by extreme police violence. And this was actually produced about 2 years before the highly publicized case of George Floyd. I guess I've always tried to be honest with my artwork, and I feel a sense of responsibility to try to document the state of the Black community.